Hello, Steve White, Trickboy 89 for Steve Arts 89. I actually got sent this video from someone by the podcast, and I sort of saw a little bit about it, and I didn't really take it too seriously. Then I had a look at the video, and there does seem to be something to it. The rumor is that there is an actor called Ed Speleers, who is going to be playing Captain Picard's son in the next season. And the idea is season 3 is all about Dr. Crusher appearing out of nowhere, having disappeared after Nemesis. And I guess she needs Picard to help her deal with or rescue her son or something. It's very unclear exactly what the details are, but the fact that this actor, Speleers, I think his name, I can't pronounce his name, was mentioned by one of his, I think, an old acting coach as a Star Trek Picard actor. They removed most of the cast from season 1 and 2 to make room for the Next Generation cast and the new characters for the third season. So they're really not exactly having random characters. You know, that pretty much everyone there serves a purpose. So he must be a fairly important character. He could pass as a young Picard. And there is, of course, the novel by Michael Jan Friedman, which is not canon, but it's called Death in Winter, and I think it takes part 2 years after Nemesis, and it works on the deleted scenes, what we know, and anything that's a deleted scene in a film, I just consider to be just something that wasn't in screen. I assume it to be canon, and just because we didn't see Picard talking to Crusher about leaving for Starfleet Medical doesn't mean she didn't do that. So I always assumed she did that. But the idea was she went to Starfleet Medical, that she had a baby with Picard and raised him basically on her own. Apparently he marries Deanna Troy's child, and then they have their own children. They don't go into Starfleet. But yeah, so that's the rumor basically. And there's a lot of things that do sort of hint to it. I mean, the referring to Picard and Crusher a lot, referring to Crusher being important and having sort of the best role or her most important role or whatever in this season. So she must be doing something important, that she's not just there for the ride, she is what's initiating the whole thing. And playing a mother again, because she said it was the most sort of the biggest sort of part that she'd had, or best part, and I'm like, didn't you have some good scenes and good episodes and good parts playing Wesley's mother? I guess the only way to top that would be playing another mother in a more complicated situation. I don't know, but so this has been sort of hovering around since July 18, when this guy made this reference to the guy as a Star Trek Picard actor. And Terry Matalas has made a few little clues as well regarding Crusher and that. And I didn't know the guy was white. I don't know why, but I thought he was black. I think I confused him with one of the directors of Star Trek Discovery or Strange New Worlds or something. But I saw a picture of him and I'm like, oh, that's Terry Matalas? I thought it was someone totally different. But apparently Picard takes part in 2402, and Nemesis was 2379, 9 years after the Next Generation finished. And Picard and that had already been married and divorced by 2395 in All Good Things. So there's plenty of time for them to have had, within canon, some version of canon at least, because that is an alternate timeline, but it does sort of seem to reflect or predict the future that was going to happen, that they did get together and have a child. Now, the reason why I first doubted this was because originally when they did Nemesis, the idea was that Picard was going to discover he had a child. And Patrick Stewart had a problem with that. He said, no, Picard would not do that. So that's when they made it into a clone, and then it became all about a clone. And that dynamic of that unique sort of rejection and so forth, of being a clone and so forth. So the idea that they were going to pull that out again, like, oh, all of a sudden Picard has a long-lost son, it's a bit cliched, it's a bit Star Trek 5, it's something we've already had brought up that Picard had knocked back, and he does seem to be able to say, what he wants to happen, what he doesn't want to happen, so I just couldn't really picture him doing that. But then when you look at all the little things, but then other things are totally inconsequential, like they keep talking about how Laris filmed her scenes quickly and was gone. I'm like, well, if she wasn't on the adventure, even if she's there at the start with Picard and at the end with Picard and they're living happily ever after, that's only a couple of scenes altogether. She'd film that one day and then, she'd leave and then they'd go on with the rest of the show. It doesn't mean she's not who he ends up with at the end of the series. It doesn't have to be Crusher just because she was only filming for a few days. If she's not on the adventure, and she's just at home basically waiting for him to come back from his last adventure or whatever, then there's no reason why they can't still be together. So that's not a definite thing. So there's some things that are very reading into it, and other things that actually could be a thing. So so thanks for sending this in to me. Anyone who has any Star Trek news, any articles they think is interesting, they want me to talk about, please feel free to send me stuff, because I don't have a lot of time to actually go looking for stuff. So sometimes I miss stuff until I see other people talking about it. But I'm just going to leave that there. I think it is quite likely. I thought it was just a rumour. I didn't think it was that likely at all, but I'm looking at it now and thinking it's more likely, and I'm just curious to see where it goes. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye.